Yeah. Greetings of the day. On this day, in this class, we are going to study the concept related to recursion. Recursions are two types. One is direct recursion and the other one is indirect recursion. Direct recursion and indirect recursion. Actually, what is meant by recursion? Recursion means a function calling itself. Means we are having a function call. For example, we are having, suppose we are having the memory allocated for one function and we are having one more function. For example, we are having a function called as fun. Suppose this is one function that is available in our program and we are having one more function called as main. Main is the starting point of execution in any program. Main is the starting point. In this program, what we are going to do is we are going to call a function called as fun. Whenever you are going to write something like this, fun, then what happens? Then a semicolon, a function call is being made. Means this particular function makes call of this particular function. Just a second. Oh, lost it. Suppose we are having a function and one more function is there. Say the name of the function is fun and the name of this function is main, and in the program we are going to make a function call called as fun. So whenever a function call is made, in that case we will be having a call to the function. Now this function is being under execution. So whenever you make a function call, the cursor jumps to the function, then it starts executing that particular function. The execution is over, in the last instance, it returns back to main. If this particular function is returning anything, then the function will return to the same line where we are having the function call. If the above function is not returning anything, if this function is not returning anything, then the function call returns, or the cursor returns to the next statement in the calling function, to the next statement in the calling function. If the function is going to return a value, then the cursor returns after executing the function to the same line where the function call is being made. Okay, so if we are going to make a call to itself, for example, we are having only one function. Let us say we are having only one function called as main. Now, after few lines, if you are going to make a function called as main, what do you mean by this? Now, you are making a function call over here. You are making a function call over here. Now, whenever it encounters a function call, it simply goes back to the name of the function and the process executes. And this process will not terminate at any instance. And in other words, this is called as a infinite loop. This is called as a infinite loop. So what is happening here? Main is being under execution. Maybe we are having certain lines of code. Maybe we are having certain lines of code. After executing these lines of code, it is again invoking the same function call. Then it jumps back, again executes all the instructions, again jump back. So this process is going to repeat until we press Control Pause Break or you stop the execution. So this process is going to repeat. Now this is called as the direct recursion. This is called as the concept of direct recursion. I hope you understood the concept. Direct recursion is a function calling itself is called as a direct recursion. If a function calls itself, then it is called as direct recursion. Is this clear? No answer?
Yes, sir.
Great. So now let us see one example of direct recursion. What do you mean by direct recursion? A function calls itself is called as direct recursion. Now let me open dev. Just a second. Dev, yes. You can handle direct recursion using conditional statements. You can handle. Now what happens with the memory also we have to consider. Just a second, let me share the screen. I hope now you can see dev environment. So let us remove this comments and change it to direct recursion. Then we don't want these parameters. Now let us write printf, one printf, then let us write 1 space 0 space, then a semicolon. Nothing is there. So this program is going to execute and print only 1 and a 0. Is that right? Or else let us do one thing. Let's just take a integer variable, integer I, whose value starts from, let us only print 1 and 0. Then let us execute this program. I hope what is the output you can. So you're going to get 1 and a 0 as the output. So forth, it is very good. There is no concept of recursion at all. We are having 1 and a 0 as the result. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to simply make a function call here, main. So here we are having printf, 1 and a 0. Then we are having a function call called as main. Means we are calling the function main is calling itself. The function main is calling itself. So let us execute and see the output. Now what happens? So it is calling itself where the values are printed are 1 and 0. So this process continues till. So only thing what you can do as of now is close this particular window, which is showing you the output. Yeah, it stopped somewhere. Okay, then it is showing us an error message that the project1.exe has stopped working, hang on while WhatsApp reports problem, etc. So it has printed around for 34.74 seconds in this system point of view. Okay, and these many values it has printed. You can simply close the window if you don't have that much patience. Just simply close the window. So what is this? This is a function which is calling itself is called as the direct recursion. Is called as direct recursion. What exactly is happening in this case? In this case, what exactly is happening means we are going to create memory. Now, what exactly is going to happen here is it is going to have the function call, the memory where it is going to execute one statement called as printf 10. So what it has printf in double quotes 10. So what it does, it is going to, in double quotes, we are having a value 1, then a value 0, then a space, semicolon. This is what we are printing. Then what happens? There is a function call called as main. So after this statement, we are having a function call called as main. Whenever it encounters main, it is going to call a function, which is itself. Though it is itself, what is going to happen? A new memory is allocated. Now this time, a new memory is allocated. And what it has again the same thing. It has again the printf and it has again main. So again, whenever the main is called, what happens is again it creates another function call. So again what it has, again the same concept, printf, just a second, then it is having one more line to be executed, that is main. So in this process the iteration goes on, it is going to repeat the process till the compiler is capable of executing the things. Again one more function call and so on. This process of creating happens only in recursion. This process is going to happen only in recursion. I hope you understood. The memory is being allocated for the function memory or code memory, whatever you say. If you declare the variables every time, in every iteration, the variables will be created. In every iteration, the variables will be created. This process goes on and on. Is this clear? This is how the direct recursion is going to get executed in the system. This is how the direct execution is going to get executed in the system. Is this clear? Anyone is having any doubt? Otherwise, we are going to go for indirect recursion. Then we are going to see one program on recursion. Is it
clear, sir?
Yeah, good. So now let us go to the next concept called as indirect recursion. So what is indirect recursion? In indirect recursion, a function calls another function which in turn calls the called function, which in turn calls the called function. What do you mean by this? A function calls another function which in turn calls the called function. Means what? Means suppose we are having two functions. Suppose we are having two functions and the names of these two functions are, for example, fun1, and this function is called as fun2. Function 2. What happens after executing few lines of code? After executing few lines of code, it calls function 2. Function 1 calls function 2. What happens exactly now? Whenever function call 2 is encountered, the function 2 is going to get executed. Function 2 gets executed. Now, whenever function 2 is going to get executed, maybe it has few lines of code in it. It is having few lines of code in it. Then after some time, maybe the function 2 is going to call function 1. Whenever function 1 is encountered, the cursor jumps back to the function. Now this process keep on repeating is called as indirect recursion. A function calls another function which in turn calls the called function is called as indirect recursion, and this leads to a infinite loop or a never-ending execution. A never-ending execution. Simply function 1 starts execution, it invokes function 2, function 2 starts executing, it invokes function 1, and this process of invoking and executing will go on and on till the RAM is gets filled or the processor's capability. Shall we see one example for this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let us get back to dev. So here in this particular main function, I'm only having one function called as function 1. Here we are calling function 1. So printf in double quote slash n, I am in main function. That's it, one single line. Now let us create one more function, that is void function 1, then void function 2. What are these function 1 and function 2? These are called as declarations of the functions that we are going to write. These functions you can find after main. This is what we are going to say to the compiler. So here we are having void fun1, then we are having one more function called as void fun2. What fun2 does? It makes a call to function 1. What function 1 does? It makes a call to function 2. Now before this we are going to print one line stating that I am in fun1 function. So I am in fun1 function. Similarly, we are going to write one more line saying that I am in fun2 function. So these are the lines that are going to get executed. Initially what happens, the execution starts at main, it prints I am in main function, then it jumps to fun1, fun1 is executed, it simply prints function 1, it goes to function 2, again function 2 is going to get invoked, and this process goes on. This process goes on. So let us execute, compile and run. So the process is going on. Execute, compile and run. The process goes on. I'm trying to stop the execution. Now if you see, the execution has stopped here. The first one is I am in main function, then followed by I am in fun1, fun2, fun1, fun2, fun1, fun2, so on. And this process will execute till the memory last, or depending on the compiler that you are using. So this concept is called as indirect recursion, where the main function is calling function 1, function 1 is calling function 2, function 2 is going in calling function 1, function 2. This process is going to repeat. This process is going to repeat. So what exactly happens inside the memory means we are having the first thing that is going to have is the main memory. So we are having main. After this, what happens? We are having a printf statement. So printf, that is /n, I am in main function. Let us keep few dots. I am in function. Then followed by, we are having a function call. So that is fun1 semicolon. So this is what we are having as of now. Whenever it encounters function 1, what happens? The memory will be created for function 1. Means another box will be created inside the memory. And what it is having, the name of this one is fun1. So what exactly it has? It has printf I am in fun1 function 1. Then it has the function called function 2. This memory is not going to eliminate it from the system memory. What it has one more function call. The name of this one is function 2. So what it has one printf statement. It has one printf statement. Just a second. Oh, we lost it. So what it has, function 2, it is having the name as function 2. It has I'm in function 2 and call to function 1. And this process goes on. And this process of creating the memory locations goes on and on. So this is called as an indirect recursion. This is called as indirect recursion. What happens? Main is calling to function 1. Function 1 is calling to function 2. Function 2, 1 is calling again function 1, and so on. This process goes on and the stack memory will be filled. So for functions or recursion, the compiler is going to use stack memory. What is stack memory? You are going to study in the next semester, where you are having the concept of data structures. Okay. So let us see one program which is going to print the factors of a given number or factorial of a given number using recursion. Is this program clear? Indirect recursion.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is an example of indirect recursion. If you want to note down, you can take the program, or you can take a snapshot. Do you want to write or do you want to take a snapshot?
Snapshot.
Is there anyone who is writing? Otherwise, I'll move on. Great. As nobody is responding, I can. You are taking a snapshot of indirect recursion program. So let us move to the program which prints the factorial of a given number. The factorial of a given number using recursion. Now, what do you mean by factorial of a given number? Factorial of a given number means, suppose we are having, just a second. Suppose we are having a number called as 5. First of all, it need to have 5. Then it need to make 5 into 4. Then it needs to make 5 into 4 into 3. Then 5 into 4 into 3 into 2. Then followed by 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Then stop. So this is what it has to evaluate in these steps. If the given input is 5, you have to perform these steps. Now, what exactly in the memory you need to have? In the memory, what you need to have is, initially, the memory must be allocated in this fashion. First of all, you are having a function. A function calls itself is called as a direct recursion. And if a function calls another function that in turn calls the previous one is called as indirect recursion. So for this program, what we are going to do is we are going to make use of direct recursion. So direct recursion means what? The name of the function here is factorial. A factorial function, just a second. So what is happening here is we got something called as factorial of 5. We received a number called as 5. What we are going to do is we need to calculate first 5 into 4. Okay. So in order to do this, what we are going to do is we are going to make the same method invocation. For this, 5 is an input. 5 is a input. So we need to have one memory location called as, say, n. We are having a memory location called as n. And the value in it is initially 5. So what we are going to do is we are going to create one more memory location which will be having the name as, or the memory as, n. Just a second. Now same memory must be there, n, and the value in it must be 4. So next iteration, in the next iteration, again, we are going to make the function call. So this function call will have, again, one box will be there. That memory location is n, and the value in it is 4 minus 1 is 3. The value in it is 3. Next iteration, we are going to go on repeating this process till we get the value 0. Once it is 0, we are going to stop there, because if the value is 0, if you multiply with the 0, the resultant is 0. Then 2. Then in the next call, the resultant will be 1. N value will be 1. So these are all n values. Just a second. Now, after this iteration, n value becomes 0. If you multiply 0 with anything, the resultant will be 0. Now, what we have to do, we have to perform this operation of 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So, what we need to do here, we need to return the value 1, return value 1. Then, what about the here? We need to return value 1 into 2. Here we need to return value 2 into 3. Here it is going to return 6 into 4. Then here it is going to return 24 into 5. So finally, this function is going to return us 120. So this is what is going to happen inside a factorial program. So what exactly is you are going to do here is we are going to write the program first, then we are going to again implement the memory allocation. So this is for rough use only. Let me clear. So what exactly the program will be looking like is, let us go to the editor first. Now in the editor, let us remove this code. Factorial of a given number using recursion. So let us remove all these program functions. We don't need them. So we don't need here integer. So we need some value. So integer n, printf. So we are asking what is n value. So this n value is the value for whom we are going to find the factorial. Enter a value to print the factorial. Then scanf %d comma ampersand n. Then we are going to make a function call called as factorial of, or you can write fact of n. So what we are going to do here, we are going to call fact of n. Now this factorial is going to return as a value. For example, in our example, we have seen if we pass 5, we got 120. Now whenever we are getting 120, there must be someone who is going to receive the value. So for that sake, what we are going to do is result is an integer value. You can write result is equal to fact of n. Now whatever the value that is written by this function will be stored in the result variable. The value that is written by fact function will be stored in result. Then you can print this result, or directly you can write printf and print the value of fact. So how to do this? Printf /n factorial of %d is %d. So first one is n comma result. So this line is going to give you the factorial of, for example, first %d is going to replace with the n value. In our example, we have considered 5. So here factorial of 5 is 120 has to be printed. Now we have to write this function called as fact, which is going to return an integer value, and it is going to accept a integer value as an argument. So here we are going to write int, or you can go with long also, int fact of integer x. Then here we are going to write the function definition. So when we need to stop, if the I value is equal to 1, we have to return 1. If the value received is 1, x double equal to 1, then simply return the value as 1. Otherwise, else, what you have to return? Return n into, again call the same function, fact of n minus 1. So this line is going to have the initial value. For example, 5. 5 into factorial of 5 minus 1, 4. 4 is going to return 4, and so on. So this process continues. What exactly is going to happen here? First, the value is 5 into 5 minus 1 means 4. In the next iteration, 4 will be printed into 4 minus 1, 3. Then 3 is printed. 3 into 3 minus 1 is 2. In the next iteration, 2 is printed. Then 2 into 1. Whenever it is 1, it is going to simply return the value 1. If x is equal to 1, return 1. Otherwise, return n into factorial of n minus 1. We will see the execution of this part. Don't worry, using pictorial representation. So what exactly is going to happen here? Return 1, else return n into fact of n minus 1. So again, this function is going to call itself till the x value reaches 1. So here we are multiplying the value because it is factorial is multiplication 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And every time the value must be decremented by 1. That's why you're writing n minus 1. So here it must not be n minus 1, it must be x minus 1 because the input is x. Parameter is x. So here also the same thing, x into factorial of x minus 1. By the end of the thing, we are going to get the result. That result is available in result and we are going to print it. So let us execute this program first. Then we are going to start debugging the program. What exactly is happening in this program? Compile and run. So enter a value to print the factorial. We are giving 5. We got factorial of 5 is 120. Very good, so forth. Let us execute this program one more time and give the value as 10. 10 factorial, we got something 3628800. So as the number increases, maybe we are going to get the wrong output. You, instead of going with integer, you can go with long. Instead of going with integer, you can go with long. As of now, it is going to give us the correct output for 5. Printing the 5 factorial. Is there any doubt in the program? Let us execute this program or debug this program first. Okay. So enter a value. Let us remove this extra text. Factorial. Okay. Let us, yeah. Now, what exactly is going to happen here is, just a second. I'm creating some space. Yeah. So first, the memory that is being executed is main. Okay. So here we are having a box for main. So the name of this memory location is main. So what it has 2 variables. One is n, another one is result. So we'll be having one is n, another one is result. So the name of this memory location is n and the name of this memory location is result. So n and result. Initially, suppose we are giving the value as 5 and the result is a garbage value. Now, as of now, once the value is received from factorial function, here we are having factorial function, that value will be restored with result value. So fact of n means directly it goes to fact. A memory location is created for the factorial variable or factorial function, something like this. So the name of this function is integer fact of 5. So what it has, it is having a memory location called as x. Now we will be having one box whose name is x. And it is having the value called as 5. It is having the value 5. The name of this memory location is x. And this particular fellow is also x. So x is value 5. What is happening if x is equal to 1? Whether x value is equal to 1? No. Else return x into fact of x minus 1. So what is the line written here? Return 5 into fact of 4. 5 minus 1 means 4. So this is the statement that is going to get executed. Whenever the statement is going to get executed, we are going to have one memory block created. But this fact of 4, what is this fact of 4? We'll be having here integer fact of x value. This x value is equal to 4. So this x value is equal to 4 now. 4. Now what it does, it is going to start executing if x double equal to 1, whether 4 double equal to 1, no. Then it goes to the else statement, then it returns x into fact of x minus 1. So now here x value is 4, so it is going to write return 4 into fact of 4 minus 1 becomes 3. So fact of 3, again we are invoking a function call here. Fact of 3 means a memory location is created for this particular function call. So one memory location is created again. Now in this we are having integer fact of x, where x is equal to, where x value is equal to, now x minus 1 means we are going to get a value called as 3 here. So here x value is 3. Again the cursor, the compiler is going to check whether 3 is equal to 1. No, it is going to go to else part, return 3 into fact of 3 minus 1. So it is going to write a return statement. It is going to execute a return statement, return 3 into fact of 3 minus 1, that is 2. Fact of 2. So whenever fact of 2 is encountered, a memory location is created. Now this memory location will have the value of x to be 2. So here we'll be having integer fact of x, and the x value is now equal to 2, which is received. Now it is going to compare if x is equal to 2, 2 is equal to 1, no. X is 2, 2 is equal to 1, no. Simply it goes to the else part and returns x into fact of x minus 1. So it encounters this return statement now. Return 2 into fact of 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Now, again, whenever it invokes fact of 1, it simply executes a function call. The final function call. Just a second. It is going to execute a function call. Now, the name of this function is integer fact of x. Integer, just a second. Integer fact of x. Now in this case the x value is 1. In this case the x value is 1. Whenever x value is 1, it is going to compare x is equal to 1. Whether x value is equal to 1, 1 is equal to 1, then simply it executes return 1. So what it returns? It simply returns the statement as return 1. Now what happens? Just concentrate. Now the execution starts from return 1 in the reverse order. Why reverse order? Because we are taking into consideration of stack. So stack is having return 1. Now in the place of fact 1, we are going to have the value 1 over here. Then it is going to execute return 2 into 1, then return 3 into 2, then return 6 into 4, then return 24 into 5. So the execution goes in reverse order. So what happens here? The first thing that is going to get executed is 1, return 1, then this one is second one, second return statement, then this is third return statement, this is fourth return statement, and this one is fifth return statement, and finally we are going to get 120 out of this program. and the value 120 is stored here. So what exactly is going to happen? It is going to create frames in the memory, frames of memory. First one is fact of 5, fact of 4, fact of 3. If you concentrate here, fact of 5 is executed first, fact of 4 is executed, fact of 3 is executed, fact of 2 is executed, fact of 1. Inside fact of 1, we got return 1, so it is going to return 1. In the place of fact of 1, return 1 will be replaced. Okay, what exactly is going to happen here is, just I'll show. So here we are having first statement is return 1. So we are going to write return 1. This 1 is returned to the next statement, that is actually return 2 into fact of 1. What is fact of 1? Fact of 1 is 1. Fact of 1 is 1. So this is going to return 2 into 1. Then third step. So this is first step and this is second step. Then third step. Here you are having third step. Return 3 into fact of 2. Return 3 into fact of 2. What is fact of 2? Fact of 2 is return 2 into 1. Fact of 2 is return 2 into 1. So this is fact of 1. And this is fact of 3. So return fact of 2. What is fact of 2? 2 into 1. So that is 2. Then fourth step is fact of 4 is going to get executed. In the reverse order, the execution starts. Return. Now what is 3 into 2? 6. That is return 4 into 6. Then fifth step, fact of 5 is executed, which is going to represent return 5 into 6, that is 24. So what exactly is happening here? This is return 1, 1 is returned to next step, and this particular return is going to execute for next step, and this one is for the next step, and the next step. Finally we are going to get 120 out of this particular statements, 120. So what is this return 1, fact 1, fact 2, fact 3, fact 4, fact 5? But invocation is performed in reverse order. First you are going to call fact of 5, then fact of 4, then fact of 3, fact of 5, fact of 4, fact of 3, fact of 2, fact of 1. Once the return statement starts its execution, the return statement 1 will be executed, then return statement 2 into 1 will be executed, then return statement 3 into 2 will be executed, and so on. I hope you understood what exactly is going to happen inside the recursion concept. Is this clear? I can't hear anyone. Is the program?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is called as direct recursion, or the program for printing factorial of a given number. If this is clear, now we are going to make, let us take a break for 10 minutes. At 2:30 we are going to come back, and at 2:30 we'll be having breakout rooms. In that breakout rooms you are supposed to practice these programs. Just take a break, come back soon at exactly 2:30. At 2:30 we are going to start our breakout rooms, and you are going to practice these programs. Just a second, format. So these are the programs related to functions And these are the programs related to recursion. In the last class, we have seen the programs related to passing of arrays to a function. So this one is, these are the programs related to function, recursion, and we'll be meeting exactly at 2:35. Take a break, come back soon.